this is the problem we're having right now with Trump and Biden. Trump, of course, is even more demented and full of dementia.
Trump is more dementia than Biden?
Yes.
You didn't just say that. But to say dementia between the two, I mean, like, look, Biden, you listen to 100 speeches, you can't even, he can't even go through his speeches.
Yeah, this whole subject, I feel like, is kind of the red herring of the election.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to First Reaction TV. My name is J Mart. We have a pretty awesome episode today. We have Bill Maher interviewing Patrick Bet-David. It's a pretty awesome episode where Patrick Bet-David is actually the guest, but he presses and asks Bill Maher some pretty interesting questions about who he's voting for and why he's voting for them. Now, Bill Maher gets kind of annoyed. You can tell he really doesn't have an answer to a lot of the questions Patrick asks him, and you can almost see this vote blue no matter who type of mindset come out, and it's extremely glaring in this episode. You can also see the Trump derangement syndrome coming back. So we're just going to jump right into it, and we're going to see how deranged Bill Maher actually is.
But to say dementia between the two, I mean, like, look, Biden, you listen to 100 speeches, you can't even, he can't even go through his speeches.
Yeah, this whole subject, I feel like, is kind of the red herring of the election. It never engages me that much because, like, I know who Biden is and I know who Trump is. We've both seen them a lot. And, yeah, they're both not at their life's peak for them. And it's sort of baked in, and I don't think, does it really make me think that it's affecting how Biden makes decisions and runs the country? No, it's not. He doesn't look good running for president. He doesn't look good, publicly as president. That's not the important part of being president. The important part of being president is the decisions you make in small rooms where there aren't people around to look at you stutter, and where you're not as nervous, and where you don't have to make a speech. You can just listen to advisors and use your wisdom. That's the key part of being president.
You think he does that?
Biden, yes, absolutely.
You really believe he does that?
What do you mean you really believe? Like it's like a cannibal. Yes, people really believe it. Like half the country thinks he's done a pretty good job. Being fair, giving like what you're dealt with as president and then where we are. Really? What is so like hard to believe, excuse me, about I think Biden did a good job? Because what, the economy went in the toilet? Because we're like losing a lot of our own troops overseas? No. Things are good.
This is CNN Breaking News.
We'll join Fareed Zakaria GPS in a moment, but right now we've got this breaking news. 3 U.S. troops were killed and at least 24 more injured in a drone attack on a small U.S. outpost.
This is a really high number of individuals killed and wounded in this kind of attack.
Excuse me, about I think Biden did a good job. Because what, the economy went in the toilet? Because we're like losing a lot of our own troops overseas? No. Things are good.
You think things are good?
Oh, Jesus. So, can he thread that needle like Obama did and all the really good politicians, Reagan and Clinton? Can he like generally keep the shit to shoe level and make good decisions? And yeah, I don't like everything, Jesus, these two guys. But back to the original. No, Biden's not done a bad job. Why do you think he has? What's so awful?
Other news this Sunday night, and to the somber homecoming for the 13 brave Americans killed in Thursday's attack at the Kabul airport. 11 Marines, 1 Army soldier, and a Navy corpsman, most of them in their early 20s.
People don't have an issue with the decision to order troops out of Afghanistan. It is with the way that this president ordered it done. There were children being killed. There were people hanging off of Air Force jets that were leaving, and you're saying that you guys are proud of the way that this mission was conducted?
Doesn't mean
of that?
You bet.
Newly released emails show that the Biden White House demanded more censorship by Facebook of accurate information about COVID vaccines and COVID-19's origin than previously known.
And what are you going to do about immigration right when you get in office?
Restoring refugee admission in line with the values and historic leadership of our country, raising the target to a minimum of 125,000 people a year in my first year. He's cut it down to 15. The average has been 95,000 a year.
As this crisis reaches a new peak, December breaking an all-time record, with an estimated 300,000 undocumented migrants crossing the southern border.
This just in, and it's notable. The State Department has released a report on its investigation into the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. The findings are damning.
What's clear as you read through this report is that there wasn't great organization or delineation of responsibility in this building at the State Department.
No, Biden's not done a bad job. Why do you think he has?
All right, so Bill Maher doesn't think Joe Biden's done that bad of a job. Now, yes, you can have your partisan arguments where Republicans think Democrat president's bad or Democrats think Republican president's bad. But if you look at this from a non-biased, non-partisan perspective, there is no way that you could be acceptable to the amount of censorship this administration has put on the United States people. There is no way you could be okay with the Afghanistan withdrawal. There is no way you could be okay with the entire Biden administration just having no interest in finding the origins of COVID. You know, the pandemic that killed millions of American citizens. When's the last time you heard Joe Biden say, let's get to the bottom of COVID? Never. Obviously, the entire border situation right now, our cities are being overran, our small towns are being overran, and these are policies that Joe Biden himself put into effect day one. He loved bragging about that, how he changed policies on day one for immigration, and look at what's happened. And all of these are nonpartisan issues. Border security, free speech, COVID. That stuff should not be partisan, but because of how Joe Biden has handled this stuff, everything has become extremely partisan. Last time I checked, the First Amendment isn't a partisan issue, but it is now because of how much censorship he has put on the American people and his administration has put on the American people, and because of that, other Democrats had to defend it. So now you have Democrats running around defending censorship, which is just ludicrous. And the fact that Bill Maher can't think of any of these things whenever he goes, yeah, I think he's done a pretty good job, is just mind-blowing. It shows that he's living in a different world right now than the rest of us.
Because I think you were one of the most necessary voices the last 3 years. And I said this in a video earlier.
Well,
we
thanks.
talk about it on the podcast all the time. I put you in the camp of you, Rogan. It's like 10 names that I put up. You have the courage to have the conversation, and we have a dispute and disagreement, and we hash it out, right?
Right.
Well, we got the courage to talk about it. You got the courage to have Kid Rock here. You have the courage to have you've had everybody here. Stephen A. Smith here.
Hitler.
Yeah, you haven't had him yet, but I think the left falls below 200 level of consciousness because it's a lot of force, and we know what's right for you, and you don't. There is no reason on the left.
Oh, sweetheart, you are preaching to the converted here. I'm always bitching about this. I do not.
You're supporting Biden, though.
Of course, because we only get two choices. I mean, what is so hard to understand about bad and worse?
They forced America to take the vaccine bill. 70% Americans took the vaccine and they didn't want to take it. A lot of them didn't want to take it.
Wait a second. Who are you voting for?
I'm voting for whoever allows me to make decisions more and not somebody that decides what's good for me or not.
Bro, we're not in a debate here.
No, the left
I asked you a yes
the
or no.
vaccine.
Wait a second.
The state of California and the industry you're in force you to take the vaccine.
So you don't know who you're voting for?
I'm voting for whoever allows me to have more freedom with the choices I make.
And you don't know that yet?
It's definitely not going to be Biden.
Well, then it would be Trump, wouldn't it?
If it's between the two choices?
What? But look at you.
Are you kidding me? It's not even a close call, by the way.
But the fact that you just can't own it is very weird, man.
Because to me, I'm voting based on values. I'm not voting based on...
Okay, but we know what the values are of Biden and Trump and their policies
You're right.
are. We know everything about
left
them.
Is about force. The right is about choice. I don't want to be forced to have to do something I don't want to do.
I get that. You seem to think that is the sunum bonum of all political issues. It is a very important one to me. There are other ones.
Such as what? What's above force versus freedom?
Crazy person in the White House?
According to who?
Again, well, it's my opinion.
That's
it's
right.
my vote. It's all,
Okay,
just like it
but
is
set
yours.
that aside. But if
I don't want to be forced, you're
Okay.
right, to do anything that I shouldn't do, but I understand why they have to force me to not shoot you or force
That's law
me
and
to pay taxes. or force me to do a few things.
That's law
and
and order.
the things like the vaccine are where we start to disagree.
All right, so here Patrick starts out by complimenting Bill Maher, and he kind of makes the point that, hey, Bill Maher has been one of the only people on the left, or someone that considers himself a liberal, and has actually called out their own party. Now, even though that's a valid point, Patrick Bet-David is extremely data-driven, he's logical, he breaks things down point by point by point, and here he's starting to point Bill's own hypocrisies out, where he's saying, Bill, you didn't want people to take the vaccine, you didn't want the vaccine forced on Americans, you wanted freedom, but you're voting for the administration that forced that on Americans. And Bill Maher ends up coming up with the biggest cope of all time. Check this out.
And to me, it's even more fine than that, because there are pathogens that could potentially cause us to really need to make everyone take it. I was just reading that they are, because of global warming, the permafrost, which has not been thought out for, eons, is going to melt. And there are organisms there that go back so far that humans have no contact with them. So zero resistance. So this would be like the Satan bug if it got out, which is very possible that it could, because there's not enough to worry about. So I thought I'd throw that in the hopper. But no, really, I mean,
You're funny.
But that's a real. But that's a real
But
thing.
you're using the 0.1% and the next fear porn they're selling us like, oh my God, this next thing has 100% possibility of killing everybody. And let's fear about the next thing that this happens and X and all this other stuff.
No, I always say it's a case-by-case basis. When it happens, that's why I feel like I have credibility, or should have, with the people on the other side of this debate.
All right, so here Bill Maher points out that he should have some credibility, and yes, he has gained a lot of credibility calling out his own party, calling out hypocrisies, and calling out some of the more crazy things that have been going on the left side of politics. The problem is that you lose credibility the second you start coping with the fact that this administration forced a vaccine on millions of Americans, and your cope is the permafrost is thawing because of global warming, and that one day we might be forced to take another vaccine. That's your cope. That's where you lose credibility. There's still plenty more to get to here, but if you're enjoying this video and if you like this kind of content, please take a second and hit that like button and hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate you watching.
Do you like Newsom? How do you feel about Newsom?
Had him on my show Friday.
I saw that.
And I first of all, I love him. You just like a guy or you don't. I've known him for a long time. He's done my show for a long time. Do I love everything he does as the governor of California? No, I don't. I wouldn't say I'm undertaxed. I have issues with this state. He's a guy. One reason I want him to run for president, is because he's obviously a winner. This guy could fucking do it. It's insane that we have the guy, but we can't run him because we have to tiptoe around Biden. And
define a winner.
Well, he would win the election.
Oh, so
he would win the election.
So he's a talented debater, speaker, communicator, deflector,
and politician. And he's a smart guy. He's a smart, real guy with a pair of balls. Do I love everything? No, you never do with a politician. But first of all, I think if he ran for president, it'd be great because it would force him to move to the center. Now you're running not just in California. I mean, this is California. It's weirdo.
Are you a results-driven guy?
No, I like to watch things fall apart.
I mean,
of course,
you wouldn't build a show that you build and win at the levels you won, for decades if you weren't results-driven, right? I mean, you're Bill Maher.
What do you mean? What's the point about results?
That's exactly where I'm going with you. So results-driven guy.
Right.
What areas has Newsom won in? You said he's a winner.
Winner of the election. He could win the election.
But based on what, though? Do you want results? Like, what has he done to California to say he's a winner? What?
Oh God, I don't know. It's too.
Bill, you're a smart.
You know what?
guy.
He made it rain. Okay, dude. It wasn't raining.
Someone who said that. He said, "Great job."
It wasn't raining, and now it's raining. So he's got my vote.
Okay,
you know what?
Respect. I mean, he.
I don't know. I don't follow the news.
On your candidate, you base your candidate based on being a good debater, deflecting, not necessarily results. Because
No, I don't.
if that's how you do it, then
Shut up.
Newsom is fantastic,
This is
Bill.
stupid. You're better than this.
Really?
I hope so. I don't know. I'm just getting
when
to
I
know you,
asked you
but
a question,
I
I said-
told you are. I
said-
mean, it's a silly argument. A debater. You know, like I can't tell. I've been doing political commentary on television for 30 years. I think I can tell when a guy is just debating or whether make a calculated guess on how he's going to be actually as president. There's two different things, running and being the guy. Do I like it that Newsom is good at the running part? I do, because that means he can get elected. Do I also think that if he got elected, he would be a good president? I do. Generally moving the country in the right direction. I would like to take him back a little toward the middle, but, you know.
Based on what, though? Based on what?
All right, so Patrick Bet-David has asked a simple, basic question multiple times now. He has asked, why do you support Biden? What does the Biden administration do that, you know, gets your support? And now he's asking the same question about Gavin Newsom, because Bill Maher thinks Gavin Newsom should be president. Why would you want him to be president, Bill Maher? It's a pretty simple question, and you'd think that one logical answer would be next. Well, let's find out, because the answer is actually pretty stunning.
Based on what, though? Based on what?
Well, you know, California is just a kind of a crazy, you know, can't do the taxes, the graft really is what is the. I was asking him about that. He says they're attacking it. The red tape, the graft, the fact that they can't build a fucking homeless home for less than $900,000. They couldn't complete a fucking high-speed rail. I'm going to say on my show Friday, this is going to be controversial, but Hamas, let them come over here and build our fucking tunnels because we cannot get it done.
All right, so that's Bill Maher's answer. He sat there and didn't list a single positive thing about Gavin Newsom. He didn't say a single positive thing about the administration or what Gavin Newsom has done in California. Instead, he sat there and listed every single negative thing and everything that he hates about Gavin Newsom and what is going on in the state that he lives in. This is the vote blue no matter who type of mindset. This is it. This is the hypocrisy that even though, yes, Bill Maher pushes back a ton on the left and he pushes back a ton on some of the crazy things that come out, he still has blind loyalty to the party, which is absolutely stunning, where he will say, I hate censorship. I hate the government forcing me to take vaccines. I hate the taxes. I hate the homeless problem. I hate the crime problem. I hate the border problem, but I'm going to vote for him anyway. This is Trump derangement syndrome at its finest, and it's absolutely stunning what is going on in the United States political system right now.
I think Newsom
You just
made
did it again.
a fantastic politician.
Okay.
He could fully pull it off.
That's what.
Did you see the story
that's
that
how
came
I
out today about
that's what
Michelle?
I said. Newsom can win.
As a politician, for sure.
Yes.
But then I asked results, and winner, and you got upset. You said,
I don't know.
That to me, there's a part of it that's results
You know,
driven.
I haven't studied his bio lately. I'm sure there are some things that we did here in California that benefited a lot of people.
And I'm going purely data, okay?
Go
Since
data, baby.
1851, the great state of California we all love, right? The first time it lost population from 1851, back to back to back to back, 3 years in a row was under Newsom, people left here.
Right.
Okay, so why did they leave? That's a stat.
They
This
lost
year-
because of this is when he was on Friday. This is what I was confronting him with. I didn't mention that because he gets that every time, so that's boring. But I was telling him about my issues with California, which are people's issues. Why do companies leave? Taxes are too high, too hard to start a building, a company. A building in San Francisco needs 87 permits before it can break ground. And, maybe he was just being slick, but he certainly seemed to be reeling off the answer of, yes, I'm very aware of this. We are working on it. I think he's a detail guy, as Democrats usually are. Republicans are more a big picture guy. Bush was like, we was attacked, war. Where, sir? I don't know all the details. I just said war. You figure out the country. I don't know, Iraq, Iran, one of them people where they wear the towel on the head. That was, that was about it. Reagan, same thing. If it didn't fit on a page, Trump said that. One page. Democrats treat government generally much more respectfully, like it's an actual job, which it is, a really detailed one. And when they know shit and get into the minutiae, things generally come out better.
If it's
and I think
right.
Gavin Newsom is in that tradition of Democrats who does that.
So if I'm glad you said that. The fact that Democrats like details more. Last year, 2023. Okay, since they like details, let's talk about some details.
Oh Jesus!
You say you Democrats are more about details, right? So I want to give them credit for
I can tell this. I can tell this is going to be dumb, but okay.
So it's going to be dumb. When it's details, it's dumb.
No, it's not because it's going to be. All right, Tom. Maybe I'm misjudging.
You ready for top 50 states?
Top 50 states.
Here's top 50 states for net migration. Best state is Florida, then is Texas, then is Tennessee. Worst state, 2023.
Yeah.
California.
Absolutely.
Then it's New York. Then it's Illinois.
Yeah.
Why are Americans leaving
I'll tell you
blue
why.
states and going to red
states? And again,
states?
what you ask, why do Republicans and independents watch me now also? Because I'll be honest about answers like this. Because for very good fucking reason. I know people. I know this on a personal level. Someone who worked for me and really was happy here, but just had a baby and couldn't afford to stay here. Moved to Oregon. Some of it is just that. Very, very expensive, this state. Now, part of that is because we try to do too much. Democrats are basically the ones who think government can do things, and very often it can't, shouldn't, it's asked to do too much. So you take a state like California, which is completely run by the Democrats, you're going to have that inclination go out of control. That's what I think about California. That inclination is out of control. Take a lot of their money. I mean, we went from like a $62 billion surplus to an $87 billion deficit just like in a year and a half. I mean, we're playing with big fucking money.
How do you do that?
How do you do that? Because it's just about revenues. It was all about revenues. It didn't have anything to do with Newsom. The tax rate was the same. You seem to just look at like the very last stat on the sheet, like the bottom line one, and there's a lot of truth that's buried in the details.
I've asked you a very basic question, and you haven't answered it. I didn't. I asked you a question. I said, you said Newsom is a winner. And I said, based on what? And I said, tell me results, because your show's a winner based on data and based on you, Democrats like details. Okay, detail-driven, your show's killing it because you're getting eyeballs. Give specific victories Newsom's had. What is the victory?
Is this how you argue? Is this how you argue with your wife? Do you argue with
we have civil conversations. We enjoy each other's company.
All right, so as this podcast rolls on, it unfortunately exposes Bill Maher a little bit, where Bill Maher says Democrats are more detail-oriented and they take government more seriously, while in the next sentence he says Democrats do too much. They overcomplicate things. They make government harder than it has to be. And that he agrees that, yes, this is the reason why people are leaving these Democrat-ran states, like California. Then in the next sentence he says Gavin Newsom isn't to blame for some of this stuff. But he's forgetting Gavin Newsom's COVID policies, where he locked down the state. He affected people's businesses. He affected businesses to move. He cost people their jobs. And it has affected people leaving. It has affected their revenue. And it's still affecting their revenue because of how many people have actually moved. And this just continues to show the blind loyalty and the blind support and the continued theme of vote blue no matter who, where Bill Maher could sit here on a 2-hour podcast and he could list 100 negative things about Democrat policies, how it has a negative effect on our society, and then vote against his own interests. That's scary. That's the woke mind virus. That's Trump derangement syndrome, where you hate this man so much, or you hate the other party, the other guy so much that you will continue to vote against your own interest, even though you could sit there and articulate the policies that they have, why they're negative, and why they have a negative outcome on our society, and still support them. This is insane. And this kind of just shows Bill Maher's just as crazy as the rest of them, that no matter what, no matter who is running, he will support the Democrat over the Republican no matter what the policy is. But hey, I really hope you guys like this video. Please hit that like and subscribe button. I really appreciate you watching. I'm going to finish this video out with Bill Maher continuing to shit on the Democrat Party without listing a single positive thing that he likes about the Democrat Party. So once again, thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video.
That, again, this is one of those things, I'm not trying to insult the Democrats. I don't want to. They're basically my people. They have to own the fact that we turn out children from high school, normal American high school, and they don't know anything. Not science, not math, definitely not civics, not history. Like knowing like any basic things. People have no perspective really about how bad it is in other countries. So they can talk shit, and they do, especially on the left, about how shitty America is. But, you know, try it somewhere else. This is one of my biggest complaints with the left is the hypocrisy of being all about diversity. Everything is diversity, except of thought. You know, as long as the black guy, the white guy, the Hispanic guy, the Jewish guy, and the Pacific Islander guy all think alike. Has that resulted in me voting Democrat just about every time? Yeah. Trump, and it got easy. Trump, Hillary, Trump, anybody, you know. So, but, you know, I always look. I will always shop around. I don't think I've ever fucked a Republican.